in here.
Who do you think is favoured in this matchup?
I think it's very dice roll dependent. I think if Ben is able to take away with game one, I think he might just be able to get away with the rest of the match.
However, I do feel like Unchained has the ability to play into boards with very little cards. It was one of the reasons why I think it gained popularity.
It's very strong going second, very strong going first, and it's very strong just making those initial plays off 1 or 2 cards as well. So we will just see who is going to win the dice roll here, I hope.
It looks like John is leading.
Very good start for him as well.
He decided to use the Pot of Prosperity early though. Usually the Pot of Prosperity is used later if they already have a way to start their plays.
Yeah, so if we look at Ben's here, we can see he's got Lapis Dragon as well as a number of Atlantean cards, I believe.
That's really interesting.
Which I don't think is the best start for him. So we'll see how the Unchained player is able to navigate their turn. What kind of end field would you want to see from them? Definitely the DDD King or Wave Hiking Caesar, Rage, a Trap, I guess. Top a very good start.
Yeah. I've been a really big fan of making sure you don't lose to my opponent's disruptions, such as Nibiru, Imperm, Vela. So I prefer to play more conservatively with the deck, and making sure I can also play on for the follow-up.
Yes. I think that's very key. You just want to ensure that you've got a follow-up play for the following turn, right? But you've also put up enough disruptions that your opponent's not able to capitalize on it. John
has started very strongly with Tour Guide.
Yes.
It is one of the best openings he could have. So I'm a bit confused as why he started with Pot of Prosperity.
Yeah, maybe just trying to decide. He wants maybe another card just to play around some potential disrupts. But we're seeing him send the Shavara. I always get these names mixed up. Or Shayama, sorry, and adding the Shavara.
So I believe he must have opened with a trap then, deciding not to send the Shavara to get its effect.
So he's going to use the escape here, using the Shavara, to summon itself from the hand.
I wonder what he could special summon, because you have a lot of options in deciding to go for now, and he's gone for the Shayama.
So Sarama. So Sarama here is going to have the ability to set back one of the Unchained cards from the graveyard, and then on resolution destroy another card he controls. So we're going to see just how he wants to keep navigating. I am very, very, very interested to see just how Ben is able to navigate the rest of his turn.
So he decided to go for Solar Rage early. I believe it's because he wants to use the Sarama to target the Solar Rage, set the trap, and be able to use the Solar Rage second effect to add a card back from the graveyard, deciding to prioritize the follow-up rather than sticking with more monsters on the field.
We'll see how he keeps on going through the rest of his turn. But I think this is one of the most solid plays that I think I was taught by yourself, actually, just how to play these cards through interrupts.
Okay. He decided to set the second trap on, say, Abominable Chamber of the Unchained, which lets you special summon an Unchained monster from the graveyard.
Yeah. So he's destroying it with the, what's it called again? The Aruha, to summon another Unchained monster from the deck. So it looks like he might then try and push for a rank 6 play shortly with the Shayama from the graveyard.
Yeah. I believe the level 6 needs to be on the field.
Yeah. Just thinking through the rest of his plays.
Has he decided to go for a rank 3 play? Oh, it's really interesting.
Okay, he wants to make the Machina X turn 1.
Most commonly, this card is used for the DDT Viceroy Queen to be able to special summon and pop a monster, but he decided to use it as an interruption because it also has an additional effect where if the opponent activates a monster effect, you can detach 2 and attach the monster.
1, yeah. So I do really like this card when you've got the Dark Contracts on your field as well. It just feels very free somewhat. So
I believe he's going to use the Shayama in his grave to pop the Solar Rage now to be able to make
Looks
the
like he's just
DDD.
passed over to Ben now. Ben did draw Lockbird for turn. Doesn't do an awful lot. However, that looks like a Small World as well. So Small World, what's it called? The Drawn Lockbird can be a very good fodder for that.
I'm a massive fan of Small World because it gives you more flexibility on how you want to build your deck. I'm a very big fan of it. You can remove some of the cards you can't use in your hand to be able to search for one of your starters while also getting a field breaker.
Yes, I think and also, like other way around, you may have more of these cards that are aimed for going second, or even some of the cards aimed for going second that you may not want in your hand. And you may just want to see more of your engine. So
Ben Sherman has decided to activate Deep Sea Diva's effect, and John has decided to chain his Machina to attach it.
Yep, and then on Resolution, going for the Soul of Rage there. I think he's just deciding what he wants to summon with it. Going for an Anguish there. I think I would have liked to see the Little Knight. Although it's just another piece of interruption, right? At the end of the day, that's all you really want.
Ben hasn't committed too many cards here so far, so I believe he still has the ability to play through and play more. He's only used his normal summon.
Yeah, we just have to see how important that normal summon is to his deck's game plan.
But I believe he is thinking through his options with Small World, thinking through what card he has to reveal in his hand and what card to banish to make sure he has the right links.
Yep. So we're going to see what Ben's next action is. Small World here, feeling very, very strong. He's going to Lapis Dragon, so that's a Water Sea Serpent level 5. Look at me go. We'll see what's next.
So I noticed Ben has Veiler and Droll in hand, but he didn't need to use any of these hand traps to stop John playing.
I think... Did he have a Veiler as well? Oh.
I think he might have drawn it for turn. He decided to add the Assault Synchron, which can give him the ability to special summon from his hand, but I believe while it is in the monster zone, it locks you into only special summoning Synchro monsters from the extra deck.
Yeah. Yep, so we're going to see what's happening next, and if he's got another way to extend. Assault Synchron being summoned here. I think he loses 800 life points, I believe.
Yes. I guess Ben's next plan will be to try and special summon a non-tuner from his hand to then access his...
So I believe that is Stardust Synchron. And on summon, I believe it adds... I can never remember the name of the card. I think it's Stardust Illumination, judging by his list. So he's going to start working towards his overall game plan.
So the Stardust Illumination lets you send one Stardust monster from your deck to the graveyard, or if you control a Stardust monster or a Synchro monster dimension, you can special summon it instead.
Yep. So I think he sends Stardust Trail from the deck to the graveyard. I think that gives further extension. As you can see, he's already had access to 2 Synchrons, so I'm not sure how powerful the Drunk Speeder would be. It looks like he has just passed back to John, who's going to just start by linking away. He could simply just go for Abomination here, and that should be enough.
I think John is seeing the line you mentioned. It is all adding up to 8,000 points of damage.
Yeah.
Ben is not in a good spot. I think this should be game, and Ben is recognizing it.
Yeah, there we go.
And that is it. And we're going into game 2.
Yep. So unfortunately, as I feared, Ben just wasn't able to find a way of extension there. I think the Diva was a very, very strong start. Just unfortunately was unable to keep going. However, game 2, he's going to be starting. And when he starts, I'm hoping that he can run away with the game.
It is a very powerful deck going first.
Yes.
And now I can imagine post-side, he can then remove the cards that he uses for going second and be able to boost his going first strategy even more. But we really saw the problem with the Synchro deck going second of how sometimes it is relying on the normal summon.
Yes,
And if the normal summon does get interrupted, you do struggle to get monsters on the board to keep playing.
If you see in his side deck, the first thing that jumps out to me is there's a Mermail Abyss Megalo.
That is a blast from the past.
It is. Came out, what, 2012?
Yes.
So that's
I want to say
11-year-olds. That's crazy to see it. Yes, another deck right now. I don't know if that's a going first or a going second card. I'm quite intrigued. I kind of want to know now.
He is playing Atlantean Dragoons and Neptibus. Maybe it's to trigger these water cards in your hand if you do draw too many and you're unable to activate their effects.
Yes, yeah. You can see he might side in the thrusts as well, potentially. I think that gives some more value if Ben's that gets maybe Nibiru, the Primal Beings. Just as I think if that card resolves, it might become a little bit harder for him to work. Also siding in the third crossout designator and more copies of talents as well. So hopefully we'll see those cards going into game 2, and hopefully Ben will just be able to start getting on with his strategy.
One thing that is amazing with this Synchro deck, I believe it can still play on the Droll and Lockbird, which is usually the go-to to try and stop the combo decks. I think so too, because Junk Speeder is a really amazing card. So Ben has just started. Thinking through, has he opened a way to play it? We can see a lot of...
is that a Prosperity? I'm trying to figure out what the first card in his hand is.
It's tuning.
Okay, that's a very
That should be enough, I believe, to get him to Junk Synchron. Yeah. I mean, not Junk Speeder.
So I think his hand is Droll, Imperm,
Cool by the Grave.
Cool by the Grave, and Moon and Glacier. So we're going to see...
Oh, he's also playing Moon and Glacier, so I guess that's where he's trying to
2 cards there.
discard more cards away from John's hand.
Yep. So does tuning it sends on resolution?
Yes,
right?
After its effect, he
so
should...
We'll see what it's a cross out.
His hand is very good. Considering he has the Cool by the Grave, he can kind of...
So yeah, we'll see if John's got anything there.
Is he going to normal? Oh, set the Droll and Lockbird. Okay, to activate Stardust Synchron's effect. It's a special summon.
Yep.
And he has drawn
that's
Stardust
Trail as well, yes.
Now he has the cards to be able to go into his Synchro plays.
Yes. So we're going to see where he decides to go on from here. So he's going for Excel... I can't remember his name. Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon.
And the Stardust Trail, I believe, gets him a Stardust token when it is used as a Synchro material monster.
Illumination. So Illumination is now going to be activated, met with an Ash Blossom.
But Ben did have the Cool by the Grave to stop it.
So he's summoning out a second Stardust Synchron.
Now he can go into the Junk Speeder and be able to play for his combo, because the token was level 1.
Okay, so he has now... There's a lot here. There's a lot that can happen.
And now, given that John has activated the Ash Blossom, he already has less cards in hand, making it even easier for Ben Sherman's discard hand strategy to resolve.
So I'm quite interested to see where he goes from here. So he's got 3 tuners. I believe Stardust Synchron's a non-tuner as well, correct?
3 very powerful Synchron monsters that have, each of them have additional effects in the graveyard. So, this is a card I haven't seen before.
I remember this card, but I do not remember it.
I think it is part of the Deep Sea archetype.
Yep, so that's Deep Sea Prima Donna. Once per turn, you can target one of your opponent's banished cards, add to your hand, or special summon 1 level 4 or lower water from your deck, and if you do, add that target to
This is really amazing with the Cool by the Grave.
Yeah, that works really well with the Cool by the Grave, actually, doesn't it?
And he has sent the Atlantean Dragoons, another blast from the past, and it was a very dominant card when Mermails was popular.
Yep.
Because it has a very powerful effect of being able to search for 1 Water Sea Serpent, I believe, from your deck to your hand when it is sent to the graveyard to activate a water effect.
Yep, and then he's working alongside Deep Sea Minstrel there as well, to then, once again, look at John's hand, see what potential threats there are there. I know this is very strong if he starts with maybe the Deep Sea Diva play, and then, it removes from play till the end phase, and now the Dragoons will also trigger. Like to see what he will add here.
You also noticed that Ben did have a Moon and Glacier in hand. So I'm sure he's going to pay close attention to his graveyard to make sure he has exactly 5 water monsters to be able to special summon it.
So we're going to see how he keeps navigating throughout the rest of his turn. There's a lot of different angles he can potentially go to.
There's a lot of powerful Synchro monsters he can special summon too.
That is true.
I guess he's used Excel Synchron's effect to special summon the Stardust and immediately afterwards Synchro summon with it.
Yes. So we're going to see just quite where he goes now. So he could use the Neptibus, the Jet Synchron, and starts to make maybe a Baron de Fleur if he's playing it. I think he's just trying to decide quite where he's going.
So the water Synchro monster, Deep Sea Prima Donna, is a tuna monster.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So a lot is happening here. So the Assault Synchron's going to reborn.
Because the Excel Synchro was tributed, you can use it to special summon a dragon, I believe?
Yeah, I believe it's a dragon. And then the Prima Donna, is then returning the banished card to the deck.
So what we did notice, he did have an Cypher Omega in hand. So I believe he plans to activate its effect to then randomly banish one card from John's hand.
Yep. So yeah, they're going to continue removing from play cards. We'll see if he then continues to special summon these Omegas, maybe with a Bestial Dispatter.
Exactly.
Summon it back.
That has been the strategy that we've most commonly seen.
Yep.
Okay, I guess there is some technical difficulties with the stream.
So here we are, Yugioh Open 2. We're seeing Ben's strategy. He's now actually getting to play his game. He's getting to play the game plan he's aiming for. I would say it's fair to assume he's going to be able to run away with the rest of this.
Yeah, it's very tough for John to play with such little cards in hand. And I think Ben also has perfect knowledge of John's hand because he used one of the Atlantean monsters. Are they Atlanteans?
It's Deep Sea Minstrel.
Deep Sea monsters,
so he gets
exactly.
to have a look and see quite what's there. I think it's quite interesting he decided not to take maybe the evenly matched, as I think if that's the last card that John has, I think it's quite hard for Ben to then remain in the game. It feels very much like he's just aiming to remove from play the cards and then attack for game next turn.
I think Ben's gone for the option to try and remove the cards that allow John to play instead. Okay. So I guess he doesn't mind if John can clear his board, but John can clear Ben's board, but if John can't play, then Ben will be able to...
Yeah, that might be true. So yeah, we'll have to see how that continues to play out throughout this game in a minute. For game 3, I think it does then become favoured for John as, well, he's going first.
Yes.
As we saw game 1, unfortunately Ben was just struggling to find the correct cards he quite needed just to take away, or to continue playing really. And with John's deck especially, if he might not be fearing all of these, maybe these potential hand traps, these disruptions from Ben, assuming it's quite a combo-oriented deck, he should just be able to generate the field he wants. And I think even just ending on the DD Wave Hiking Caesar might just be enough.
He decided not to opt for it game 1. Maybe it might change. Now he's seen he's against a Synchro deck, it might change and he might go for the rank 6. But Unchained can put many forms of interruption on the board, especially as we saw with Abominable Chamber of Unchained, being able to reborn the Solar Rage if it ever...
It's lots of different layers to it, right?
Exactly.
It's not all just monster effects on the field. It's monster effects, some in the hand, some traps, some in the grave. It's really quite an interesting deck in that respect, and it's one I quite enjoy playing just because it's that multi-layered. That's one of the things I would look for in a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I don't want all of my interrupts to just be the 5 monsters on my side of the field, because then you lose some cards like Dark Riddle.
No, I completely agree. It makes it so that after siding, when your opponent does put maybe in their answers to be able to beat you, you still have some ways to interact on your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
And with John's deck, he can establish so much with such little cards. As we saw, the tour guide in game 1 was really powerful, getting him to most of his engine that he needed.
Yep. Again, it just depends what kind of lines John wants to take with the cards he has available to him. So yeah, I think we're just waiting to return to this match.
Do you think Ben prepared much with Unchained in mind? Given the new set, Age of Overlord, it has reduced in popularity a bit, with Rescue Ace taking more of the limelight.
Yeah. I would argue that with how Rescue Ace is taking priority, how maybe other decks like the Tier Limit strategy, the Hurley strategy, other decks that are coming out of the woodworks, especially out of even Mekanko, I think Unchained may have fallen out of a bit of popularity. That doesn't mean it's not a good deck still. It still has a lot to give, a lot of power to it. I know there's some American players that still believe in the strategy, and they'll still continue to play it. For me, I just want to see how it deals with the rest of the field. I think trying to deal with the Rescue Ace strategy going second, it can be quite unfortunate.
We're back.
So we've returned
to the same game state.
Yep. Luckily, we're not missing anything else. So I think just waiting for them to catch up with us, and we're going to see how they decide to keep going. So the Cyframe Lord Omega is there. Once it resolves, what do you think is going to happen next?
I think Ben's just going to try and establish more synchro monsters. I believe we will see a Bestial Disbatter soon. Currently, I can't see a way for him to make it immediately. Oh, he's gone straight for the Moon and Glacier now. He has noticed he has 5 water monsters in his graveyard, and this is the perfect time to summon it. Being able to discard 2 cards from John's hand.
Yep. So that'll be 1, and then the second card.
He's lost the Ash Blossom and the Dark Ruler no more.
So it seems like John, unfortunately, does not really have a line of play next turn now.
It is, I feel like, going to be impossible for John to get back into this game.
So I believe the Stars Illumination lowers the level of the monster. So he's going to make the I've missed this card. So Crocosaur is going to draw a card here. I think he's then going to use the...
it lets you draw to the number of cards that you use to synchro summon it.
So I think that's going to target the Crocosaur and maybe summon a Trishula.
Another level 6 synchro. Now...
Yeah, so that's going to... Yeah, but it just looks like he's losing all the cards.
It is, in fact, a water synchron deck. He is leveraging the water monsters to be able to discard more cards from John's hand. And now the Omega, is he going to actually hold the Omega for John's main phase?
I'm unsure. It depends if he wants to return a card to his own graveyard here. The card in the graveyard is Revolution Synchron. That can also bring itself back. And then you can turn that and the Crocosaur into a level 10 as well.
Most likely.
There's the Jet Synchron as well. I completely forgot about Jet Synchron.
Yeah, most likely he would summon Bestial Disbatter, but he also has the ability to summon Baron de Fleur. And I think Baron de Fleur is just as good.
I think so. I would agree with that.
Given John has such little cards, he's used Trishula instead.
Okay. Again, the Bestial Disbatter could actually just bring back either the Omega or even just the Jet Synchron here.
Yeah, in fact, he has now gone for the Cyframe Omega effect here, and then I believe he's going to special summon the Omega and hold it for John's main phase.
Yes, I believe that. And in the standby phase, you can always put back the evenly matched to the graveyard as well.
Or the Jet Synchron that got banished.
Jet Synchron, yeah.
Just making sure he can do his combo.
Exactly. Just making sure he does the correct plays.
In addition, Bestial Disbatter can also be a negate or destroy a monster effect.
Yeah, so I think it's looking very, very hard for John to return here.
Oh,
is he making...
Another Crimson Dragon.
Crimson Dragon.
And Crimson Dragon's effect is actually a quick effect to summon from the extra deck. And I might argue Trishula here is amazing, being able to summon Trishula here on John's turn. Yeah, and John packs it up for game 3.
Yep. So we're going to head into game 3 and see just how Ben is able to navigate going second. I'm quite interested to see just how his deck works, potentially post-side with more optimal, let's say, card choices for this matchup.
But as we discussed, Unchained is a very resilient deck.
It is a very resilient deck. So we're going to see just how John decides again, what kind of board does he want to make? Does he want the Wave King? Does he want Rage? Does he want maybe even the Machina X? So we'll see how he decides to develop his field and just kind of what route he wants to take. Looking at their side decks, do you think John would put the Drawn Lock Birds in? I'm not sure.
Potentially, given what's there.
He's seen Small World as well. So Small World for, say, like any of the Stardust monsters or anything. It does hinder Ben's play quite significantly, I'd say.
He also saw the tuning.
He did see the tuning as well. So I think it's not terrible. I'm not sure if it's the best chance. I think I would put the Nibiru, the Primal Being, going first. Might be a little bit unconventional, but I think given the nature of both, not only Ben's deck, but also John's deck, you get a lot of advantage. Especially even if the Caesar leaves the field or something else, you can then add more cards for follow-up. And I think you just want that extra safety net, right?
Exactly. I'm a very big fan of Nibiru going first because it is so difficult to ask your opponent to remove all your interruptions, and to be able to do that under 5 summons, sometimes you don't have the luxury to be able to choose how you want to play your turn.
And even if they say they prepare for the Nibiru, there's just a chance they're not able to then deal with other interrupts you have. And I think that's one of the highlights of that card.
To deal with Unchained, I am a massive fan of using like the Bestials or cards that are able to take my opponent's monsters. Currently, Ben does not have any Bestials in his side deck, which makes it more difficult. The reason why I'm a big fan of Bestials is because you can banish a dark in the graveyard, such as Soul of Rage, and something like Druiswim can use this effect when it's sent from the field to the graveyard to deal with the DDD High King Caesar. Yeah. So essentially, you get a 2-for-1 trade.
I agree.
But he does have the Frost and talents. So you can also steal the DDD King High King Caesar and negate the Soul of Rage.
He does have a lot of cards just to try and push through going second. Going into game 3 now.
Most likely seems John has elected to start. And we can see maybe a not so strong hand. Actually, I can see the DDD Dark Contract.
Dark Contract to trap Droll
Dark
and
Contract
Ash Blossom as well, I believe. I thought that was a tall guide as well then. I was like, ooh.
So if John is able to play, he has a lot of cards to back up his field.
Yeah, from what I could see, Ben did have a Nibiru in his hand, as well as a Triple Tactics talent, which those are both very, very strong and phenomenal cards.
So we're most likely going to see the DDD Machina again, and this is what it is most commonly used for, to be able to turn the DDD Vice King Requiem into the XYZ, and Machina has an additional effect where you can shuffle back a Dark Contract from the field or the graveyard to destroy a card. It gains this effect because when it is overlaid on top of DDD Vice King Requiem, the XYZ monster on top gets that effect. Oh, he decided not to opt for it and destroy his trap card, but instead he's going to try and link away with the Fiendish Rhino.
Yep. I think that's fine here.
Escape is a really good interruption going second as well, being able to destroy one card on the field, and as we saw, interacting with a normal summon, it has been pretty effective so far.
I think John getting a little bit confused here, but he's going to resolve his Fiendish Rhino Warrior and his Yama. See what he decides to summon off of the Yama.
Most commonly, you send the Shavara to the graveyard to be able to set an additional trap, but last time we saw him send the Shayama. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I want to see just how he decides to navigate it.
So he sends the Shayama again?
Yep.
And as the Shavara?
So I think this time, we'll see how this respects the Nibiru here. I think it's going to be a little bit harder on him in game 1. So he's going to destroy the trap card, summon Shavara out.
Using Escape to special summon again. Usually the way Unchained plays through Nibiru is that they try to hold something like a Shayama engrave to be able to destroy, and then use a Yama's graveyard effect when something is destroyed to special summon a Fiend monster from the graveyard, and this way gives you the option to keep playing if you do get a Nibiru.
Yep, so we're going to see just how he keeps on going here. Nothing a big threat really for Ben right now.
Similar line of play as of game 1, going for the Soul of Rage somewhat early, activating the Shavara effect.
Yep, I think you get the Prison here. I think that's the best one.
Abominable Chamber of the Unchained, which lets him special summon from the graveyard. The trap that he is missing. He can always access the Escape again by using Sorama. And he decided to pop the trap with Shayama.
Yep, so they're going to destroy it here, and he's going to resolve... is he going to use the
He's starting to use Yama effect as well to special summon.
Okay. So just summoning a lot of monsters to the field here, and I think this Nibiru is going to see a massive payoff.
Really deciding to opt to not to play around the Nibiru. Yeah, I think Ben has recognized it too. As soon as John had used the Yama effect, it gave him the all clear to activate this Nibiru. So, and I think he's really going to get punished. He does have
Rakea pop or to destroy.
Yeah, to destroy, but he no longer has the Yama to then summon another monster from the graveyard.
Get high value from it, right? So we're going to see just quite what happens next.
I believe John is left with only 2 cards in hand now, with Droll and Lockbird and Ash Blossom.
Yeah, I hope he does try and destroy a monster, because maybe he's got the Unchained Soul of Disaster in his deck to try and claim back a Link Summon.
That does work.
But by the looks of it, unfortunately, it seems like the Nibiru, the Primal Being, is resolving.
The Shyama would go to the graveyard, I believe, because it was special summoned. Would go to the bottom of the deck because it was special summoned from the graveyard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I think they're catching it now. Yeah, Ben wanting to shuffle the deck.
I guess John opted not to use the Rakea effect to destroy Arua.
Yep, so we're going to see a very big token as well, in all fairness, come down. So John has got...
And he's passed it right back to Ben.
Yep, so John's got a Droll and a Nibiru, the Primal Being.
But he does have quite a lot of cards conflicting with this Nibiru. I noticed the Lightning Storm and the Kashtira Fenrir that he is unable to use right now because he has a monster on the field. Decided to Ash the Foolish Burial. I wonder what else Ben has in hand to keep extending. The Foolish Burial starting, I wonder what he was going for.
Yeah, I'm curious what the Foolish Burial would have sent to the graveyard there.
Talents. He might opt to draw. Oh, Steel. Is this going to be game? The token is very big. I would like to say over 8,000, and that is the game.
That's amazing.
With only 2 cards, he was able to end the game. He decided to not show how the Synchron deck can play going second, but instead use the token he special summoned to John's field to attack for game.
That's beautiful, I can't lie. Just seeing the token being taken and switched to attack position.
I think John must have been slightly frustrated with how he played that.
Yes. So we'll speak to Ben afterwards just to get his thoughts on his overall opinion on his deck as well. Former UK national champion Ben Sherman as well.
Again.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Good luck to Ben throughout the rest of his tournament as well. Hopefully he can get some more games that go like that.
Yeah, I would love to see the Water Synchro deck progress deeper. I'm sure it will catch many people off guard.
100%. If I was playing that match, I definitely feel like I would have caught a little bit off guard.